And I get down here at like 11 o'clock in the morning. Right, grab something, go home.
All right, so I'd like to call the meeting to order. Everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. We will follow the agenda. The first item on the agenda is a period that we call for the good of the cause. This is a time that the board has set aside to encourage public participation. If anybody would like to speak, we would ask that you sign your name and your topic on the paper that's provided. And yeah. Sorry. Is he there?
Rick was getting a phone call.
Rick, are you back?
He's back. So set. Okay. Anyway, if anybody would like to speak, we just ask that you please limit your comments to about 5 minutes. If not, then we'll move on to the rest of the board. The first item we have is really, I think, something that the board is the favorite part. When we have the students come and talk to us about your experiences at school. This year we have students from the middle school, and Mrs. Lindsay, would you be willing to introduce the students that we have?
Yeah, I certainly can. We have Chris Byrne at the end there, Alex Wright, Grace Carlson, and Andrew Scaniel.
Well, welcome, and thank you for coming, and thank you parents for letting them come and bringing them. At this point, I'll let Roger kind of lead us through the process.
So thanks for coming. We're really happy to have you, as Mrs. Dietrich said. And this is a really great opportunity for you, but it's also a really great opportunity for the members of the school board. And it's a chance for you to tell the school board. And the school board is really in charge of the whole school district. That's a pretty big deal. It gives you a chance to tell them, what your impressions are of your school district, your school experience. And so I know they're looking forward to hearing from you. So I thought that what I would do is I would start by asking you a couple of questions, okay, that you can each answer, or if you don't have an answer for one, you don't have to answer every question, okay, you can just answer whatever it is that you're comfortable answering. And I know that Ms. Lindsay might have a couple of questions also, okay. So first question is, I was hoping that you would share with the board the answer to this question. What's the best part of school for you? Or what's the most rewarding part of school for you? And it could be what's going on right now, or it could be last year or the year before. However you'd like to answer that. So what's the best part of school for you?
Probably Science Olympiad, because it helps me learn all the, for example, there's a project called Invasive Species, and we did that as a science project too, and it just helps you prepare for it, and it helps you be better at physics and everything, so when you grow older you already are ahead.
You were on the Science Olympiad trip,
Yeah.
right before spring break?
Mhm.
I heard you guys did pretty well. Congratulations.
And stuff.
That's a little different than 5th grade was. Great, man.
I like every class in general because you get to learn something new every day, and I like it that the school is bigger and you have more stuff to do, with the lockers and not having the walking lines, and just I like having the periods, so I get to organize your schedule.
Great, thanks, Chris. Andrew?
I like the school lunches. They're a lot better than the elementary school. They just taste better.
I'd like to hear that.
Yes, that's good.
So maybe the other side of that question is also worth asking, okay? And that is, what do you find to be the most challenging, What's the most challenging or even most difficult part of school for you? What would you like the board to know about in terms of those types of things? Go ahead, Grace.
Not being able to finish our work on time, like not having like enough time in the class period.
So sometimes you run out of time and you'd like to be able to finish longer. And the periods are shorter in sixth grade than they were in fifth grade. Great, thanks.
Probably like when you get done with your work really early, sometimes like you have to silently read for the class period, and when you get done with your work early in lots of classes, you have to silently read and keep silently reading, and it's just not very fun after a while. So like maybe more extra projects after you're done.
You'd like to do something different than what's on the read. Yeah. Thanks, Alex. Yeah. Mrs. Lindsay, you had a couple of questions for us too.
Yeah, we had talked about, one of the focuses in middle school is from fifth to sixth grade, we're really kind of focusing on that transition and trying to make that a little bit easier. So my question was to compare some of the things that happen in fifth grade versus some of the things that happen in middle school. So the elementary school versus the middle school. Some of the things you like and some of the differences that you have. Whoever wants to go can go.
I definitely like that we have more of like the mini classes, like art and stuff for a longer period. So gym we have every other day instead of like once a week or maybe twice a week at elementary.
I like that we have bells because instead of in fit, we would just go in a line and at any given moment.
The freedom, like have the choice to go outside or eat lunch. Like we don't have to go outside on like we did in the elementary school. So,
Grace.
I like being able to do band and chorus like after school.
Anything else? You want a good answer for that one.
And my other question was, and we kind of had talked about this too, was change in the middle school, what would it be? I know Dr. Middle school.
Making the periods the same length because 5 minutes and then lunch is 30 minutes and all the rest are.
And the school board made it not. And then it used to be a little bit longer, so the lunch got a little bit shorter. What other things would you want?
We talked a lot about that.
Maybe have or like the outside time in the lunch because my food, it's usually by the time I'm done eating, that time's over.
How about our student panel?
I had one. What grade are you all guys at? Year for you guys. Great, thanks.
Like to have offers. that maybe aren't offered.
Because like there's not many technology classes.
Once in a while to get it to renew or check out a new book.
I like the class because we
was in your class once, and I think the overwhelming answer to that question from our
yeah.
class, yes.
It has that gap, right? There's no organized sports. Is it still LP1?
Grade
Goes
for
to sixth and then
soccer, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey.
For sixth graders and golf.
wow.
In the spring, yeah, the Lucy's of Gen.
Were you all able to take advantage?
Century's Eating Club, but it was on Mondays and Wednesdays.
I during cross country at home.
How about the golf? That's near to my.
Yeah,
I recommend it.
Yeah.
Question. I know that in sixth grade, they're able to do the science. So what are those, is that? Participate in?
Not really, those are really the three that. Academic related activity. There is a running club. Program where we have the older kids teaching, say, volleyball during volleyball season. But those are really the three main clubs that are available.
That was great.
Yeah, and I know that Thea Maruzzi had approached.
What we do, know why we're here. Members on the school board. One of them, we're all here today, and our terms are staying. Mrs. Valentine, sitting in the back of the room, is running to hope impact your learning and your academic experience here to find out what you all need the most policies. And hopefully they're being involved in our.
This important group of people to know.
Like there's not many teams that some of the other schools. I know this is kind of more funding towards Science Olympiad because like room I could use. So pretty much it.
Well, that they're really recognize that this group of people would be willing to listen to you. And if you do, thank you a whole lot for being here.
Very much. Yes, thank you. Anytime. We have a whole period set aside where. All right, next First on the agenda, we have our summation to us. So I don't know if you have anything more.
Here to talk about how some of the changes that put it over to the two of you.
I'll start with review science.
Yeah, why don't we do science? and
Sure.
science?
Do living environments, and then ultimately sophomores will do. At this point, when I got the feedback, Dana Damp and Tammy Morgan are how successful, only because an easier of the two exams. That the material for Earth, a handful. I think 2 years ago we even had like 18. Ready for the harder curriculum of Earth Science for 2 years. For a certain group of kids that's living environment in 9th grade, it's sort of like a nat sequence. Well, it is because we haven't had that exam. We'll know by the end of June. So Tammy and Dana believe that that segment, evaluate that at the end of this year to find out if we need to add that class.
No, what, 7 weeks? So do they feel like things are?
Them passing the Regents exam for living environment. And I think, but I don't think it's going to be any larger of a number than we did by giving them living environment first and building up some foundation. Because of this, basically eliminating the A and B from the standard route, we have, so we've looked at adding a grader and then moving to this other non-Regents class.
We actually have Mike Brinley, who is a certified science teacher teaching science for teacher. And so they would move with the different teachers, and then they were just going to do this specific unit, and then another teacher's going to do another unit. We can increase the number of students that are taking chemistry and physics and are passionate from 8th grade, and to get them on that advanced science track. So because these aren't in yet, but keeping a close eye on kids, meet up with him, free periods during the day to kind of make sure that it's really benefiting his academic.
Those kids, even at the middle school level, are being exposed.
Turbines?
Yeah, right. Yeah, he talked wind turbines. They do the process. Not only having it, but how the Pine Valley is doing there. I don't think it's being openly discussed, but I think, and we're going to build a hovercraft. And we did something like that in tech science class as an elective in terms of like another.
It's for 6th and 7th grade, and it's the first week.
As well as the other subjects than there had been in the past.
It's okay, I got you. Which is where it should.
On the math?
High school level, I think, and when we sat here about a year ago, one of the things I talked about is you look at results and results algebra, but how can we increase enrollment through North Country Community College, but 2 half-year courses that in both and between intro to college and statistics.
So they get bridge credit?
I believe AP Statistics had the option. So when the fact that we meet on a daily basis, North Country in both, they were possibly gaining through. But again, algebra class. Typically, we do have some juniors in both.
Okay.
Have probably been accelerated, 1 or 2. I mean, most of them have a college level course, and then they go into that class as well. Third credit math, they could do algebra 2. We had such a need there that we have 2 sections of run spread it over 2 years. They have an option of is teaching it this year.
Again.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we just lost it for
The non-geometry, if they're not looking for that college level.
They would have that option.
They have that option. I don't believe anyone do this as an AP class and take the test.
statistics. So if the student didn't choose to do it.
The curriculum doesn't have to be approved for the AP test. The curriculum has to be approved to be on the transcript.
I want to take the AP exam.
So we really don't have an AP math
Calculus,
long time.
long 3 to 4 years. My first, we haven't actually, we haven't had the students do it. I think years ago we did have a couple of students that specifically identified in terms of it would be either an AP physics. The second year we offered AP physics. When colleges look at our
Do you think it's something you goal, or is it you feel it's unnecessary?
Would it be beneficial?
Right.
we'd be interested in taking AP physics, so we offered it. So if they
Based on, the population that's in advanced math, need to pull together an AP class.
we have a curriculum that has been approved by the College Board that they would just use. What you would look at is at the acceleration. And then I know in our 8th grade, back out and say, in theory, even if you keep
That when you can get college credit if you score two,
I don't disagree with you at all, Linda, but, this runs, like I said, this goes way in kids taking the AP Calc class, but rarely.
At some point, the school has to say, I know you've never been to college. I think it's too bad to not have a math. I think we
But credit, and it goes onto a transcript, and the students got either 6 months or a full year off. Students and parents know that the students.
Yeah, it's real money.
It's real money, and it's not. I mean, I know talking to the students who were in college and all of a sudden found out that it was almost a full year. So most of the schools then have the students test out for math.
It's
You know,
usually
to-
recognized as a math elective, but not,
Right. But then,
it'll either be a gen ed acceptance or a math elective. But it's the statistics that, especially those going into the social sciences or the hard sciences, I mean, that is, you're not gonna graduate most likely from a 4-year school.
but it does seem to prepare them, so a lot of the colleges are testing the students that they have them take a generic math
All colleges.
testing for them, and it does seem to prepare them well for that.
It's a placement
We don't have
test.
feedback on that, I just have hearsay feedback from students that I happen to know, and so, but it does seem to be preparing them for the college level math and getting them into where they need to go, so it's really a positive.
And in terms of applicability, some of the courses that we're talking about, trigonometry, pre-calc, calc, aren't always as applicable in what kids go on to do or study in school. But statistics is very applicable. It's applicable in social sciences and other areas, and it's become almost a requirement in a lot of places. So, getting more kids to take it, there's certainly.
Oh, and that was, one of the, when we stood here a year ago, the biggest motivator was accessibility. How could we get more students exposed to a college level, in this case, math class? The pre-calc calc really, with our population, fits a certain number, 8 to 10 kids. Kind of go that route over the last 4 or 5 years. That's typically what we have in calculus, pre-calc calc. All right, what about those other students? By offering college algebra, 2 years ago, we had 2 sections of college algebra. This year we have, by splitting it, we still have 12 kids plus the kids that are in calculus. So we have, doubled the number of kids that are taking a college level math class, whether it's an AP or a bridge. So because if you look at it, and if you look at our numbers over the last, since I've been here, and I'm just looking, in terms of college, we typically have, this isn't the case, but we typically have anywhere from 10 to 15 students every year that move on to a 2-year school, right out of graduation. College algebra and statistics is going to serve that population better than probably the pre-calc and calculus. So the motivating factor a year ago was, how can we get more kids taking math into their junior and senior year, and at the same time challenging them in terms of something that is one they can use moving forward and wherever they go, whether that's Paul Smith College, Canton, or moving on to Harvard. What can we give them to offer most of our students, not a select number of our students? I think that's one of our nice driving forces in science as well, is the fact that we're offering, yes, we offer this year 3 AP science classes, but we're still picking, we're still looking at offering a non-region science elective to get kids exposed to something else. And our population isn't changing. We're just trying to gear kids and get more kids taking that science and that math junior and senior year. And I look at the numbers anyway this year, and I think we have more kids, juniors, seniors, taking math.
I think it would be really interesting if there's a way, especially with the enthusiasm for science, and I think it comes in with the environmental food, to find a way to introduce statistics at middle school, even through it's there. it's there with those, so just to give the kids.
When I, so, to speak to the masses like you're talking about, how do you congeal, so we get as students motivated into the maths junior and senior year, but almost in a bimodal sense, you don't want to let those the pre-calc calc focus, because they are speaking to, and it's not easy. I populate it with the proper instructors, but being able to meet as our accelerated students, and again, easy for all of us to dream. I can't imagine.
Well, fortunately, I think we have the staff that we are offering pre-calc and statistics and college algebra at high school level that are able to cover those classes and offer that curriculum. So we're have the staffing, to do that. We're not taking calculus, away so that we can do college algebra. We can always have choices when they get to that. I mean, I talked about non-regents geometry, financial algebra as well. Because if you look at it, schools our size around the area, a typical sequence would be algebra, geometry, algebra 2, possibly calc for those accelerated kids. There's not a lot of, you might throw in a financial algebra, or what used to be as another elective, but that's it. I'm truly fortunate that we have the staffing to.
Sorry,
What time?
what time? It's 5.
And is it it's grade 6 and 7, correct?
Great.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Obviously, like with the sciences, I mean, once the Regents results, when results are done in about a week, not 3 months. As needed, if we have the population for the sciences, do we need to level and all that? Because in the end, we want the students to be successful.
I will tell you, school, that we have a larger number of students who feel so. We have kids that have opted out, and I'm only saying a very large number of students opt out, particularly. And some of the letters, we have to have it in writing, and some of the letters said, well, the kids in and said, well, what about math? I'm like, oh, no, I'm really good at taking ELA. So we have.
Thanks.
But thanks for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Oh,
Budget status report.
everybody awake now? So we'll do the budget status report next. 31st. Year-to-date revenues, our property taxes, $1,593. Other tax items, $1,016,496. Use of $8,000. Miscellaneous revenues, $75,317,244,860. Compare last year than we were last year. A huge number that we have, and that's collected. We were at 80%. On March, we're $5,400,734. Our BOCES expenses $766,800,005. Equipment expense was $56,194,667. Textbook comparing that to last year, about 2.5. A little bit of that has to do with pay periods. I think you see that % difference there on the salaries, and the benefits is about almost. That's where I think that makes up the. Okay. We'll move into the cash balance or per books. The previous month at balance, cash balance was $9,935,349,638.04 for a total cash balance per books at the end. The bank side, the total per bank statement, $52.41. Our outstanding checks were $650.93. And comparing that,
Just had one, Leonard, on the cash sweep account. What triggered? Well, the way I'm reading it, the sweep accounts is that it's.
Oh, the sweep account. That money there is make that call, yes. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't.
That's it.
Looking around, others just look relaxed, having had, and I think others are just happy to be, but you get back, really see it's coming to crunch time. Take a look at those grades and see what it's going to take. We have teacher curriculum drives, and so they're sort of trying to figure out who are trying to decide what to do in school. That's the day that kids need to tell the colleges that they apply to. Students across the country and indeed across the world are right now. We have our 8th grade students, teachers who are to come Washington D.C. operations and trying to figure the money transfers. Our kindergarten registration, PK enrollment, as a lot gets done in the next couple of weeks. So this is as well. Wish all of our students and our teachers and our families our spring season. Most of our softball, golf, lacrosse, track, and baseball contests have dominated. We're going to find out. But you should know that that's a particular challenge for transportation. Donna has to make all these key for our spring sports in particular. Many of our practices packing everything into a short period. It's a challenging aspect of this time of year. But then, of course, we have the noise and all that kind of thing coming up. This week, the kindergarten this weekend. Then we have our committee meetings. We have taking the math exams, the state math exams, his school career. And that's alongside Dimitri Feld, who's also being honored, which has, as you know, been wonderfully beneficial for our questions, comments?
Right, Abby Armstrong has convened a panel to discuss the importance of anybody that could attend. I think great job organizing. It's brought together. You all have a blue sheet. Karen needs that. And then something that was added late is
Protects. And in some ways it's come as we expected, and in some ways it has not. So we want to make that was upwards somewhere around one small piece on the document. We're finalizing a more formal documenting out based on interest rates projected, and then spend all of that 19 million, which again we are continuing, like we all look at ways that we can spend school year. Now, as we told you, we're going to be pulling off debt on your document. You also should know that there are a couple other lesser
projects. That's why we did.
Right. But they'll be coming off at a 200,000 home. Considering the one major debt coming off, whatever home's actual value, being about 15 million. You see the tax levy. This is what we're pulling together is
It's going to be coming off book and around 2020. What's the size?
100,000 an energy performance contract.
So in responding to any questions, we're looking. I took statistics.
and we'll go to linking goals with the agenda items.
Teresa and Dana with regard to math science.
Flexibility by helping students undertake a wide range of educational goals.
As far as offering Excel and for the information for the board, Gabby's Armstrong's.
Relabel it somehow. In what we're doing and then on the link.
But the topic.
Yeah, maybe if it can be relabeled, empowering youth to citizens.
Right.
Present, right, I guess, saying that we're looking at, because I'm just, I think.
I give you a very quick, I have our goals and international cultural understanding. And then the second one we had was a point of order, making that change in the contract because it's an extra duty pay for direct agencies. Students, we sort of heard that tonight. We have, that was going periodic reports from the superintendent. Plan to reduce barriers that prevent student participation in college level courses. Had different reports, and we'll continue to get reports. Identify areas that prevent the district from meeting. So I think we've done a pretty good job with that. We haven't really done much is develop a means to community program, work with the superintendent to review and update the district org chart. We did that. Just some replacement plans and progress of being made to implement in place. Leader components, PH BOCES, we can do that for the high school, middle school one we've done. It's been completed. The elementary school will be done this, and then that couple things that we haven't. One is the very long term in the education.
To Plattsburgh and the instructor that you told your data collected the numbers. And I own it, and my follow through was poor, and their struggles to call that, objective met will be.
Right.
I don't know if we'll have any real trend in that regard.
First one is the minutes, meeting based, is that Cammy? Thanks, Cam. Is there a second? I'll second Karen.
Me too.
That's Karen. Right, so please vote. It's nice to have everybody here. Needs, upon the recommendation, superintendent appoint Sarah for the 2016-17 school year. Is there a motion to approve that?
We had some candidates.
That's
and,
really exciting.
and so we could have benefited from any one of them.
Yes.
Yes.
740, straight budget. Recommended action, needs be approve this resolution. Is there a second? Please vote.
Can't believe it. We won't let me.
I think this is time to vote. Okay, and then the second, OC's Bunton from Chattagay, Jason Brockway from Fort Covington, Whitmore from promotion. Yes, Linda. No, it won't go over 2017, 2018 school budget as per the attached. Is there a Appreciation Week proclamation? Recommended action.
Yes.
Thanks, Linda.
We're starting that process.
Yeah.
Right. We haven't ordered them yet.
Okay. Okay, well, we have applications. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from them.
The one in the play?
Maybe the play, maybe. But that was the music.
Just the music.
The last action item is 2017, and 2017, 2018 school year. Is there a you approve at the next meeting?
For extracurricular, that would require
Or an extension?
additional cost, all aspects of learning. So we've done it before, and
Next meeting, if we move into the adjournment phase, next meeting date and public presentation, but if anybody, budget vote. Roger and I have nations just before you have that handed in to me by Friday.
Mary, we just do just to clarify, the one that where the goals are actually populated in.
I can, no,
It is, they're not doing the right-on form, correct?
Yeah, if we could get part 2, because I did part 1 today, and I was on,
Thank you.
thank you.
Where,
I think it was in March 5th, because
I'll take one.
yeah, I'll take one too, Ken.
Board members, and it comes to us and then it's discussed.
To another person that we were copied in. So I did not respond to it. Okay.
So I just,
I was saying,
Can
if you
just
receive,
do
I
it as
agree
well.
with Mary that it's not us to respond. But I don't think we're obliged to respond unless it's addressed specifically to the board. Well, then, can you really respond to that? This session.
and well, we were CC'd on the note to
Information from.
respond, how it's gonna background.
I
Fine, it's just, I'm just saying as far as, exact, for us to
understanding that
We appreciate being with the information.
just, you're communicating with just, I just important.
But to that,
Sent directly, I sent two that included them all.
and that, however, in the same form that they, if they call, then call them back and talk.
No, but we aren't getting that. You are doing that with,
This is an agreement, then you leave the meeting knowing
I just,
You should
being on the end of get information, sending something,
that part of it. You know,
but it happened as
No,
of
that did
now.
not happen, not
Right.
directed to one person.
Feel that, I'm just saying from
Right.
my
Right.
end of being, that we're supposed to,
Board of Education candidate, and I think it's to everybody's.
I did speak with, Tim Taylor this morning, he called me back, I got both last week, Agent.
Which,
She's not.
Resigned, right? Because she's moving. That's it.
So he was, in other words, we were all trying to figure out where it was, and really it's at the lawyers drawing up the final paperwork. So he was gonna go contact Peg Duran, his lawyer, and that was where we left it. That was probably the day before the break, I think.
Right. Because we approved the final.
We did, it's all approved on our
Approved
part.
Right, so it's just a matter of the lawyers,
The
so
lawyers
they
just have to write it up.
whose court is the ball.
And it's really it's really their interest in getting it done as quickly as possible, because they can't sell the property or even put it on the market.
Oh, yeah.
Until it's finalized.
Sure. So it is a finalized check.
It is not finalized.
Thank you.
But our part is, I mean, the decision's been
The
made.
board's
It's
done
done
its job,
everything,
yeah.
If there is nothing else, then is there a motion to adjourn?
I just have a couple quick questions, if you don't mind.
This really, can you wait till we adjourn? Because we have that time set aside in the beginning for that.
Okay, no, I understand, Mary, but also at the same time, if you're going through a 2.5 hour meeting, I do have questions that stem from the meeting as a reporter. But feel free to adjourn. I mean, I could just ask Roger afterwards
Okay.
individually, yeah.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Thanks, Kim. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Thanks, Rick. All in favor? Motion carries 7-0. Yes, thank you. Thanks, Pat. Oh, okay.
Check.
Thank you.
I come back.
Have fun.
Are you going to start in the
Yeah.
So that's July
Okay,
Keep
so
going on my computer. You're on my computer and on my iPad.
It's fantastic.
Oh,
Full year end, I
okay.
mean, year end.
It's not the registration.
Yeah, I went to.
No, but it's still like, don't they get it?
Maybe
Which
it's
we
information,
did.
I'll have to ask.
So
Well, I
I'm
bet
thinking
you
he
it's,
was doing everything from.
I mean,
It's overnight.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get on it in the
March
evening, and
31st,
you can go to the
deadline.
casino, gamble, well, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And
And
For
then.
the-
once you call